Hello, sellers. Thank you for joining us. We're seeing the numbers go up. This is my first of two seller events today. I have this one and Upfront Seattle this evening. So if any of you are joining in the Upfront Seattle, I'll see you this evening as well. Hello. Oh, that's Jordan. Oh, hello, Jordan. So you guys will see as you're coming on to this check-in, you will see a poll that we want you to take. Hi, Teresa. Please take this opening poll. We're going to have two polls during this check-in. This one here, asking you a little bit about what you're thinking about, a little bit about your business, 3 easy questions. And then we're going to do a poll at the end where we ask you a little bit more about the event itself, these check-ins. Are they a good use of your time? How could we improve? We do send a post-event survey. We thought this would be a fun way and an easier way to, to get some feedback. So please go ahead and take this opening poll and we'll share the results as we, all right, let's get started. Looks like we'll go back to those results of the poll later. That's great information. Thank you. Love the interactive nature of these check-ins. So thank you for joining. Let's see, we have a great agenda lined up today for all of you. I hope you're doing well. We will have Jordan take us through, hi Patty, we will have Jordan take us through kind of the North America business update. As many of you know, we had Q2 earnings this week. We saw some great results in Q2, and I know many of you did as well. So Jordan will share a little bit about the latest numbers there and kind of us heading into Q3 and Q4. And then I will share a bunch of seller updates, everything from kind of our summer success month and what we saw from that. A little bit about, of course, our value prop and what we're doing for sellers, the additional protections we've put in place and we continue to monitor. And then I'll share a little bit about, give you a little bit of a sneak peek, maybe around the 25th anniversary celebration that we are planning. And then we have Bradford Shellhammer, our VP of Buyer Experience. We know you love Harry, but we're giving Harry a break. You will love Bradford as well. Many of you know him already, and he'll share an update on the buyer experience. Again, we are a two-sided marketplace, so we do want to share with you guys all the things, all the great products and technology we're providing to your buyers. And then, as always, we will talk about simplifying the payments experience, and Kiala Gaines, our head of global payments, will share a little bit more about our roadmap and our journey that many of you have been along with us from the beginning, and some of you are coming along the journey now. So we have a great agenda lined up, and please submit your questions. I already see quite a few in there in the Q&A. We have people on staff to answer your questions in real time. So please ask questions there. And of course, we'll take some Q&A at the end for the broader group to hear. All right. And then don't forget, we will have a poll at the end. So stay on at the end and please take our poll. We want to hear your feedback. So with that, I will hand it over to Jordan.
Thanks, Marty. It's great to be here today and see so many familiar names and some new ones on today's attendee list. Bradford, thank you for taking the time and giving Harry a break. And obviously, as much as we need to improve our seller tools and capabilities, nobody buys anything without going through your pixels first. So it's pretty important that people are hearing around how we're evolving our front end shopping experience. So as some of you may have seen me post 2 days ago, obviously, we had great Q2 results. Things were so strong through the quarter. We actually felt the need to pre-announce earnings. So if some of you are wondering, why did eBay announce earnings and the share price go down? The truth is we actually went up a lot. And then we announced earnings. People were a little bit, questioning of what our Q4 forecasts look like. But the truth is, and I'm sure many of you feel this in your business as well, there's a lot of unknowns right now. Like, what will holiday look like? What will supply chains look like? What are buyers going to do? Is the government going to extend unemployment benefits? And so there's a lot of unknowns in the business. One thing that isn't unknown is, are we going to go back to where we were? And I think every piece of data that I look at makes it clear that that's not going to happen. We have acquired a record number of buyers, right? Active buyer growth, 5%, 8 million more active buyers in the quarter. And as I think I shared in the last check-in, they aren't just showing up to buy masks or a desk or a laptop stand. They are buying those things, and then they're buying other things, and they're buying the things that make eBay eBay. And so I don't really know what growth will ultimately look like in Q4. That's part of the magic. We have to work with finance so we can set the right expectations externally. But as it relates to what our confidence is around this being a new foundation to build on for eBay, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited because of the results, and I'm pretty excited because of our CEO. So just to hit on a couple of the points. So obviously, GMV growth, that's our strongest result since 2005, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I joined eBay in 2004, so many of you may have been on, back when we were posting 30+% growth, but to see this level of growth and see it across the globe is a testament to just the power of the platform, the power of your businesses, and the number of buyers that really are shopping and frequenting eBay. I touched on the 8 million more active buyers, and that the growth was across the board. At the very start of the pandemic, there were two categories that were a little bit slow out of the gate: high-end luxury watches and automotive parts and accessories. And even there, it only lasted about 2 weeks. And since then, we've seen everything from beekeeping, pools, gardens, toys, puzzles, car parts, luxury apparel. I don't know that there's a business you could be in on eBay right now that isn't experiencing growth very differently from how it was before. So I hope many of you are benefiting from that success. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the business as well. So many of you may have seen that we announced a sale of our classifieds business to Adevinta. I think that's fantastic news for eBay sellers. Why? Because it gets us one step closer to having a business that's just focused on the core eBay. I'm extremely grateful for the team that led classifieds and created all of the shareholder value. But that's now going to be a stronger global entity. Adevinta will actually, with the stake we have in it, will be a non-competitive partner for us. So it will make eBay a stronger brand by going into a classifieds competitor who's actually seeking to take our customers. And in the US, we actually got a little bit of a bonus where the vehicles part of the classifieds are actually coming back into our core business. And so for those of you who are in the parts and accessories category, I think we'll see a lot of synergies there as we sort of pull those things back together. And of course, in addition to us getting a 44% stake in the combined entity, we also got $2.5 billion of cash, assuming the deal closes in January. And that just gives us money to invest in hiring engineers and doing some acquisitions to bring some innovative capabilities into the company. And so I think you'll see a lot more excitement coming from there over the next 6 months. And to be really direct, there could have been a path here where we sold the classifieds business just for cash and bought back a bunch of shares and made some investors happy. That's not the path that Jamie came back to do. Yeah, we're going to grow the share price, but we're going to invest in eBay and we're going to make it successful. And this was the path that actually allowed us to create a stronger eBay over the next 3 to 5 years versus creating a stronger share price tomorrow. Other things were exciting, obviously, the end of the formal operating agreement with PayPal. So we've got Kayla on today. We've got some exciting progress in payments, and so I wanted to thank you all for your time and partnership on that journey. More Seller Hub capabilities continue to roll out. So I know Harry's not here today, but great things on that front, and more features going into multi-user account access every quarter. And then probably the last thing I wanted to say, if you haven't had a chance, I totally get it. You should either go and look at my post on eBay for Business on Facebook or spend 10 minutes and listen to eBay's earnings call. But I would love you to hear, in Jamie's words, exactly what he has declared publicly around our path forward being the seller platform of choice. So in the past, I think some of you would probably poke and prod me on the side and say, hey, didn't we have a CEO who once said, like, sellers are the noise in the ecosystem? And I can tell you, like, that is not Jamie. Jamie, early on in earnings, actually thanked you, our sellers, for driving the results. What does seller platform of choice mean? How do we make the tech capabilities better? How is it easier to grow your brand? How do we help you drive sales? How do we protect your reputation? Jamie passed his 100 days right around earnings. And in that time, he's been on events like this. He's been lurking on events like this, listening. He's been on seller calls. He's been lurking on seller calls to like gain insights. And for me, it's a lot of fun to hear him pushing internally in these meetings on, hey, I hear what we're talking about, but is that really what we want to go and tell a seller? And I can tell you, like, that's why I came back to eBay, and that hasn't always been the way conversations have gone. So I know there's a lot of uncertainty with the business trajectory in COVID. Are we up, are we down? But I think the commitment you're hearing from our new CEO is aligned to the values that brought me back to eBay. And I think that should be very exciting for all of us as we go, as we look forward. So with that, I will hand it over to Marnie to jump into the rest of the morning.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, and Jamie's vision certainly makes our lives, I would say, a little bit easier. Maybe not easier, but certainly, the things that we've been pushing for and we want to do for all of you and all of our sellers are getting the attention they deserve. So I'm feeling good about that as well. All right, so let's go through a couple of seller updates. I'll run through this hopefully pretty quickly, and then we can get into the fun stuff with Bradford and Kiala. So this month we had our Summer Success Month, after we had the month of driving traffic. So Traffic Month, Summer Success Month. I know many of you think these kind of themed months are really interesting and really helpful. So we're going to continue down this path with great content, really keep the focus for our sellers on kind of one topic at a time to really educate and provide insights and help you guys with your business. So let's see, week one, we talked about using seasonality to your advantage. So we really spent a lot of time around Terapeak and all the great functionality there. I'll channel my inner Harry and tell you that there is, more and more functionality coming. Terapeak has been a phenomenal tool. We are just getting started with Terapeak, and we're continuing to build the capabilities. Of course, the capabilities around desktop and mobile as well. But really, kind of using Terapeak to understand your business pricing, and especially when it comes to seasonality and the importance of that to your business, especially if you're in a business like apparel, obviously that's big, or even home and garden, where seasonality really impacts your business day in, day out. Week two was really kind of talking about reducing costs, whether it's through the summer or all year long. And there we talked about, I'll go into it again, of course, but the intention of us taking the money that we're making, right? Business is good. Jordan just talked about it, and reinvesting it in our sellers, reinvesting it in technology, reinvesting it, but putting it back in the business. And when we say we're reinvesting, in our sellers, we're looking at the value proposition, right? We're looking at ways to offer additional insertion fees. So we made a permanent change there. That was received really well. I know many of you want even more and want more categories included in our zero insertion fees. And so we are looking all of that. We are not done with enhancing the value prop. That is a clear mission of mine and of Jordan's to continue to bring you kind of the easiest and best way to list at the most cost-effective way as well. So we had the zero insertion fees. Of course, we launched our EPN with a lot of great knowledge, a lot of great tools and knowledge-based training. Videos were launched. But just a reminder, EPN is where you can put a link to your listing on eBay through social. And if a buyer converts on that item, you do not pay the final value fee. If the buyer converts on another item on eBay, but you drove that traffic, you still get the eBay Partner Network payout. So again, understanding what your options are to drive traffic, understand what your options are for listing, and really kind of taking advantage of all the, all of the things that we're putting back into the value prop. We wouldn't be in July. We wouldn't be talking about managed payments, if it wasn't for, July being the big month. I think, internally we had a fun name for it when we were, fully separated or divorced from PayPal. But, it is all about managed payments, and most sellers, as you know, will save being on managed payments. And also what I find kind of even maybe not better than saving money, but certainly up there is just the ease of everything in one place. the ability to not have to call two customer services and reconcile, and just having everything in one place is just huge, and time is money. So week 3, we're obviously focused on managed payments because July is the big month for us here in North America. And then in week 4, we're really talking about, and I saw a question in there, is taking time away and how do you manage your business while you're away, right? So multi-user account access. Harry, he is not here again. I'll channel my inner Harry, but we have some new capabilities, new functionalities that are launching. You'll see them in the seller update. Yes, there'll be a seller update in September, and they're great. They're amazing. I'm going to scoop it a little bit. We're even changing it from vacation settings because clearly you could be away for 5 hours and need to, give somebody else access, or you could be away just for the weekend, right? So a lot to come on multi-user account access, especially as we get into managed payments, where you want certain people to have certain access at certain times. So, and we thought that July was a good time for, if you could take time off, to take a few days off. So we wanted to talk about all the ways you can actually take your business and give the reins to somebody else while you take some much needed time off. So Summer Success Month has been well received so far, and we would love feedback on all of these topics and what really resonated with you guys. Next, enhancing the value prop. I'm not going to touch more on there. I talked about it through reducing your costs, but please keep listing those additional ZIFs. They're not going away. It is permanent. So you don't have to necessarily get in before the promo ends or be concerned about taking listings down. But please take advantage while we have those, additional 8 million buyers that we do plan to keep. But take advantage and list all the items, list all the long tail. We want you guys to use, all of these additional values that we're providing. So please continue to list. Seller protections. So, things are evolving and changing, and quite frankly, not for the better as it pertains to USPS. And many of you have emailed me and through the Facebook groups as well. We are well aware. We have obviously a very close relationship. I'll call it a strong relationship. Jordan may disagree that it's strong, but with the USPS. And so we're well aware of, the struggles that are happening there. So we have, of course, hopefully you all saw, reinstated our seller protections around late shipments. We realize that there are scan delays. We realize, we're very much in tune to everything that's going on. I saw a question there about INR. So we're looking at, protecting sellers, from claims that are filed and then the item is actually received post the INR closure. So again, we are looking at all of that on a daily basis, protecting you from bad actors and poor performance from carriers, things out of your control. So please look at the community for updates there. So you understand your protections. And one thing to note is that we did end the protections and then start them back up a week later. We are proactively or retroactively, I should say, protecting you. So there will be no time in between there that you are not protected. And then last but not least, 25th anniversary. So we are so excited. We're planning a fabulous seller event at the end of September. I've said to this many times, Jordan and I were looking at the swag yesterday and debating on colors and items and all kinds of fun stuff. I think it's the fun part of our job. But we will be having this 25th anniversary celebration at the end of September. The website for registration and to see kind of what's on tap for the fun event will be actually launched next week. So please be on the lookout for that, and can't wait to share all of the amazing stories that we're receiving, right? We're receiving all of these 25th anniversary seller stories that we'll be featuring. They are phenomenal, they're inspirational, and Mandy, it's going to be a lot of fun, trust me. There'll be, like I said, some games, there'll be it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. So please be on the lookout for that. All right, so with that, I am actually going to now hand it over to Bradford to take you through some fabulous new things about the buyer experience. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bradford. My name is Bradford Shellhammer. I didn't realize Harry was such a star in this group, so I hope I'm as
Oh, you have no idea. You have big shoes to fill.
Well, I don't talk as much as Harry, but I'm maybe louder than Harry. So, and we're both New Yorkers. So, greetings from Manhattan. Nice to see everyone today. I have had the luxury of talking to sellers all day long. So, I was in a similar session with some UK sellers in the morning. So, this is a seller day for me, and I'm energized as a result. I'm going to tease you a little bit today because we're putting together a bigger rollout of a lot of awesome buyer improvements that we're going to show more thoughtfully with a little bit more of an unveil in August at the Top Seller Summit that's coming up. But for today, I'm going to tease you a little bit about some cool stuff that we've either recently released, we're in the middle of releasing, and or are in the process of testing. And so my team is super cool and super big. We basically, everything that you see on the buying side of eBay, we build. I also have this really awesome responsibility and of being the steward and the manager of the eBay for Charity platform team too. So just know that happy to, if you have any ideas around either buying or charity on eBay, shoot me an email. I'm always available. So just know that I'm an open door if your questions don't get answered today as well. If you said, what are the 4 things that the buyer experience team at eBay is working on, it's really simple. It's one of these 4 words that are on this screen. Everything that we are doing this year and hopefully next year is at the altar and is really about one of these 4, sometimes multiple ones. We are really obsessed with the concept of verticalization. The way that you shop for a refurbished computer and the way that you shop for a vintage dress and the way that you shop for a $20,000 Rolex are very different. And the way that you pay for those things, the way that you take inspiration, the end-to-end buyer journey should be very different for those. And we're really starting to work on what does that look like. So I'm going to tease you a little bit and show you something that is specifically, I think, appropriate for today that we've recently released. Modernization is a word that I love to use, and my team, it's a rallying cry for us. It means a lot of things for us, but it is what's necessary to compete in a modern age. Lots of digital competitors, lots of small upstarts. And so modernize for our team is about 3 tactics. One is modernize the backend technology that enables us to move faster, to design faster, to be more iterative in our design process and our product development process. It means modernizing just the look and feel of eBay. I know that many of you, there are still parts of this experience that look like it's from 10, 15 years ago. Don't know that that keeps me up at night, and we are working on trying to solve it. And so modernizing the visual identity and the design language of eBay, and then also just modernizing the experience. Make sure that things like Apple Pay are on view items when you can check out if someone's on an iOS device. So we're working on a lot of things under the Modernize umbrella. Simplification is around removing a lot of the irrelevant content and irrelevant buttons and information and making it easy for buyers to make decisions about the seller they're buying from and about the product they're looking for. And then lastly, personalize is how you verticalize at scale. I'm a 20-year eBay customer. I've never bought women's clothing. eBay should never show me women's clothing because I've never bought that until I give some kind of signal. And so personalization is really about exposing you to things that are like the things that we know that you have an interest in, but it's also, I think more importantly, about removing irrelevant stuff, things that you definitely don't want to see. And so those are the 4 strategies of our team. It's not, there we go. All right. This is our kind of motto, for lack of a better word. If you ask me how we're doing on delivering this, I'd give myself maybe a C-, and the team, because this is aspirational, but do know I wake up and my team wakes up every day, and this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting to simplify, personalize, and make eBay human. So all of our experiences are about that. It's honoring the heritage of this company. It's either making it easy for them to get in and out, or it's exposing them to things that we know that they'll love. And we're also amplifying 2 things. Our customers tell us that they care about 2 things. They care about treasure, this special item, the perfect find, and they tell us they care about value. Oftentimes great deals or great prices, but value is a loaded word, but it's really about either uniqueness or value of eBay. And then inspiration is a word that I think a lot of commerce companies throw around, and they don't rightfully have They shouldn't, but eBay is really in the inspiration game. We are for people who are searching for that special thing, that perfect deal, something you can't find anywhere else. And a lot of times that comes with emotional. It's not just in and out and transactional. And so we really try to inspire our customers, and you'll see, hopefully you'll see that start to come to life more in the buying experience. I'll spend a second here, but the buyer experience of eBay is really big. That's the gist of it. We have 182 million active buyers. They're in 190 countries. So not only do our team, do we have to make sure eBay is fast and efficient and personalized and simplified and verticalized in North America, but we have to do it in German. And that's really hard, but it's really awesome as well. Mobile continues to be dominant. Our teams build and are the shepherds and stewards of the mobile experience at eBay. And I'm very happy to say we have one of, if not the highest rated major e-commerce apps on the planet in both stores. Look at the competition and see their ratings. 4.8 is staggeringly high for commerce. And then lastly, the thing that makes me so happy is that, we raised over $1 billion over the course of the eBay for Charity program. And this year's looking like it will likely be the biggest. And so especially at times like now, of all the stuff that's going on in the world, from COVID to Black Lives Matter, like our charity program, it's even more relevant than it was probably on day one. And it's just super cool to be able to build that experience. Now, the meat of why I'm here, I'm going to just show you a few little tidbits, as I said, things that we've recently launched or that we're launching right now. Verticals, though not particularly, it's not necessarily entirely verticals aligned. Stores and the concept of the best sellers and sellers entities in the shopping experience is something that we are super excited about. I know that a couple years ago, it might not have felt that way or looked that way on eBay, but do know that we are talking right now about how do we weave in the concept of sellers, recommend sellers, suggesting saving sellers inventory, educating buyers on sellers ratings and their offerings, and stores is a product at eBay that I'm sure many of you use. It never existed in our native apps. Like, you literally couldn't go to your storefront in the eBay app on Android or iOS. So the team built that at the beginning of this year. And what we're working on now is more entry points into the store's experience on the native apps. The first one they built is the ability for merchandisers in Jordan's organization and marketers in Jordan's organization to link directly into stores in the app from marketing placements on the homepage of eBay. But what's about to come is links to stores and places like the view item page in the native app, and the ability to share your store in social media, in emails, to friends, in a text, and have it deep link back into the app and open up as a storefront in the app experience. So as I said, stores is live now in native, but you probably can't get to it. We're going to build ways for the next couple quarters and lots of awesome ways to get to it and to be able to also share it. Modernization. Love telling this story. So one thing that we did at the beginning of the year was we built the back-end design system in our native apps. We rebuilt it. We had nothing to show for several months, and people are like, oh, you're talking about this big thing, Bradford. And I'm like, just wait. And after we launched it in March, you see some subtle changes. So the images on the left here, the text is slightly updated. It's a little more modern. It's a little cleaner. Rounded images which give it a little bit more of a modern punch. But that was just getting started. It was basically allowing us to change a design element, a color, a button treatment, a banner treatment, and really easily publish that across the whole eBay experience, not just on an individual page where an engineering team would have to roll out code to do this. So what we've done since building this design is that you see we rolled out rounded edges on our buttons. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it tested extremely positive. It looks more like a button. The old eBay design system had rectangular edges around the buttons, and in the app, a circular felt more right. So sometimes a subtle design change, and that was something we could easily do. And then the real big winner that we've rolled out as a result of this investment in the technology of the design system and our native apps is that we enabled dark mode in both Android and the iOS app. And someone could say, oh, it's just visual. It's not. A lot of people have a hard time looking at a white screen, and a lot of people don't like looking at light screens at night. And we need people to look at their screens if they're going to shop. And so making it easier for them to spend more time on our app was a critical part of why we built this. There was also this other thing that it was the #1 most requested feature for the last 2 years from our buyers. And so what you see with new leadership, Jordan, Pete, my leader of my organization, Pete, who's also Harry's boss, Jamie, is that we are really focusing on listening to our customers, and not just listening, but actually doing something with it. I'm happy to say that this is live now. 45% of all of our app customers are using the dark mode, the dark experience today. Big win. We also launched Apple Sign-In. I won't go into details, but Facebook and Google make it really easy to create an account. You will never forget your password. It just makes it easier to get in and out of eBay. Apple does the same functionality, but a little more protections of privacy. So we're anticipating that customers that hadn't created eBay accounts before will, because of this new, more privacy-driven Apple Sign-In option, and that is live everywhere as well. Almost done. A couple things that we've done to simplify the experience. The view item page, we call this product ownership at eBay. This is my team's work. It kills me. It's so not good in places. It's in native, there are descriptions and information you need to make a decision are way below the fold. We're aware of it. We're building new experiences for both native and desktop. I'll show you some of the awesome native stuff that we're moving really fast on the next time I come. But just know that we're starting to work on a complete redesign of the backend technology and the front-end experience of this page. One of the things we're taking very seriously is the exposure of sellers, stores, sellers' feedback, contact the seller if it's something that the seller is interested in, seller's other items, etc. in this experience. But it's coming. We're starting to do it here, and you're seeing that this is launching now, which is a redesigned and more adaptable desktop page. So if you're on a smaller screen, you can still see the buy buttons above the fold and the relevant information. Lastly, in this section, stat for you, 5% of all eBay sales are the same seller buying the same item, the same buyer buying the same item from the same seller. 8% of our sales are the same buyer buying the same item, but from a different seller. And we make it really hard for customers to go in and buy things that they bought before, especially if they buy a lot on eBay, and many of our best customers do. You have to sort through purchase history. It doesn't have search. It's hard to buy things from purchase history. Just know that we're working on purchase history and making that better, but we're starting to roll this experience out. You might have it right now. If you look at your phone, it's in My eBay, but this essentially is an easy shoppable grid of your recent purchases that go right back into, if you had sold it, right back into your inventory. If you're sold out of this item, what it will push is we'll push into search and show similar items that are the same. And then lastly, we're leveraging science to make eBay more personal. A lot of times we talk about the recommendations, like, hey, you should try this items to recommend, but there are other places we can use science. A few places that we're starting to build is having science power the signals that encourage people to buy on our item page. So these are things like how many are left in stock, or the last one, or how many have sold, or if it has free shipping. That's a personal decision. What matters to me might not matter to you. And we actually have the data of what are the signals that are triggering our customers to buy. We're going to start to personalize those signals. And then something like the watch list, which accounts for a tremendous amount of sales at eBay. It's where our customers store and hold items that they're interested in. Is how sellers initiate offers for items that have been watched. It also is a place where people just park and hold things until there's a price break, and then they make the purchase. We're going to start to use science to order that, because right now it's just showing you the last thing you watched, and that might not be the thing that you're most likely to purchase or engage right now. So we're going to start to leverage science more. And then lastly, we're going to teach people more how to eBay. eBay's big, it's complex, it's awesome, but it's complex at times. And there are parts of our experience where we believe that we have to nudge and push our buyers to take the next step. And when they take the next step, meaning watching an item, saving a seller, saving a search, downloading our app, it's actually a better thing because it fuels our ecosystem. It makes the recommendations more relevant. It makes them stickier customers. And here's an example of us encouraging people to watch their first item if they've landed on the same item a few times. Like we pop up contextually and say, hey, we'll let you know if the price goes down if you watch this. After watching an item, we might suggest that you download the eBay app. If you download the eBay app, you'll get a notification in real time if the price went down or if you have an offer. And then lastly, we're going to start to tie eBay funded promotions to actions that just encourage good behavior. So here's an example of, let's just not give away money to all of our buyers. Let's segment a buyer who hasn't purchased anything in our app, and we know the app is a stickier and better experience. Let's encourage them by giving them a coupon to shop and buy their first purchase in the app. And this is some of the work that we've rolled out in the last couple months. And that's it.
So Bradford, before I let you off the hook, two things I saw that I want to just, like, one is you use the word native, and people, we don't, what does that mean?
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so not, it's so funny. I can't believe I'm getting called out for being technical because I'm not very technical. I'm the least of all the, I'm surrounded by engineers. Native means our mobile apps. So the app that you download either in the iOS store or in the Google Play Store for Android. And they are, it's awesome because it's someone that says, I like eBay so much, I'm putting it on my home screen of my phone. And yeah. And what's the other one?
The other one was just more of a clarifying that I can kind of take it and then maybe you can expand on it, is when we say, and I always yell at people in meetings, when we say stores, right? There are two different meanings of stores to our sellers. There are the actual store subscriptions that they pay for and they get listings and shipping supplies and blah, 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 blah. And then there's the actual storefront that they can create on the site. And so they are two different things, right? Obviously benefits to both, but I just wanted to be clear that they're two different and there isn't a cost associated with the store on the site, right?
Yes.
Like,
and I was talking about that, the storefront on the site. We want it to be better. We want it to be a little more, we want sellers to have their voice come through loud and clear, that we want merchandising possibilities, we want branding opportunities. And we definitely, which is something we haven't done, and by bringing it into our mobile apps, not native, but our mobile apps, is that we also want just the concepts of stores and sellers to be connected and woven through the shopping experience as something that's constantly there, always available to look at, read at, check upon, and learn more, and even engage with, such as, ask a seller a question or offers or saving the seller. And when someone saves a seller, we send emails and notifications when new items have been listed by that seller. So it's a great way to get people to come back to shop your inventory.
great. Thank you, Bradford. Hopefully that cleared up a few things. All right, now let's go to Kiala.
Thanks, Marnie. Well, hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. Marnie alluded to July being a big month for us. And I wanted to kind of give my vantage point on that. It's really not about a divorce from PayPal, but it is about fully being able to own our experiences and the way that we build out our products for buyers and sellers, inclusive of payments. And payments is such a huge part of the experience journey for both you, our sellers, as well as for our buyers. So it's been a big month for us because it's been the first time in a very long time, since 2003, which I kind of call the modern e-commerce era, because if we think about how much payments has changed between 2003 and now 2020, they've changed drastically. Mobile didn't exist. It's now the way that the vast majority of people buy online. People were afraid to put a credit card number in online, and they were mailing money orders and checks. And we've gone to a place now where I think most people are pretty comfortable entering a credit card online. And so, things have drastically changed, and it's through that lens that we've actually embarked on this managed payments journey and wanted to make sure that we were looking at holistically what is the best experience that eBay can offer its buyers in terms of ways to pay, ways to make the checkout more streamlined, more efficient, faster, and how do we do that, to Bradford's point, globally? Methods that buyers like to use actually have quite a bit of variance country by country. And so we see that continuing to emerge and evolve, actually more so probably in the last 5 years than in the prior 15. So making sure that we really could stay ahead of what are the ways that buyers are shopping, and how do we give them easy ways that are comfortable and preferenced by them to shop. And then from a seller perspective, really streamlining and simplifying the operations, giving you everything that you need to sell and get paid in one place. So Marnie alluded to, one set of customer service experiences, one set of policies, one set of reports, one set of fees. When we first evolved in our partnership and then joint ownership with PayPal, I think it was quite the status quo, or the expectation that you would need to manage payments and multiple systems all separately. And increasingly what we've seen as technology has made much more streamlined experiences possible is that that's no longer the norm. And there's lots of opportunities to integrate more deeply and build greater efficiency and not have to multiple places in order to manage your business on eBay. Recognizing you may still go to multiple places to manage other aspects of your business, but hopefully it's not just to sell on eBay. And then lastly, part of this journey has really been about going slow, and you saw that in the beginning, and I'll speak to timelines. Part of that was to make sure that we were building a really strong foundation, that we were listening to you, we were listening to our buyers and our sellers about what they liked, what they didn't like, what we needed to still improve, and things that we could do that would make your lives easier. And so that continues to be a focus area. And actually, I'll show you some of the experience and places where we've tried to make sure that we're continually listening and responding in the few minutes today. So looks like I am in control of these. Let me find the little Marnie. It seems to have, there we go. I clicked too fast. There we go. So just to recap on our journey, right? So hopefully folks have followed along, but if you haven't, 2018, we announced that we would begin to manage payments on our platform. You may ask why 2018? That was actually the first opportunity that we had an opportunity to begin to participate in and manage the payment space. That was governed by our separation agreement with PayPal. And so we rolled out managed payments in 2018 in the US. We immediately, when we launched with Apple Pay. That was an example of something that we had seen getting a lot of traction with buyers in the market, something that we wanted to be able to offer, and something that under our prior sort of integration and arrangements, we weren't able to offer. And so as we embarked on our managed payments journey, it was one of the first things that we did. We immediately followed with Google Pay, again, that being a method that we were seeing getting a lot of adoption and buyers wanting to be able to pay with. And then we launched Germany in 2019. And so as we fast forward to 2020 and to July, what you would have maybe heard from us, and if you haven't, you'll be hearing it today, is we did launch actually UK, we launched Australia, and we launched Canada. And we are continuing to scale the US and Germany that were launched in prior years. And we expect to be largely actually complete in this journey by the end of next year. And so you'll continue to see us add more and more features and add more and more sellers. And you may have asked why you may have not been invited to participate yet, if you haven't been, and sort of how we're doing this. And one of the things that we like to be transparent with is making sure that the features and the way that you run your business on eBay can be completely supported in our managed payments journey. And so as we unlock additional capabilities in our core tool set, we are able to assess who uses those tools and make sure that we're inviting sellers in at the time that is right for them based on the tools that they use. And so if you haven't heard from us yet, it's likely because you sell and run your business in such a way that we don't yet have the support for it. And as soon as we do, that you'll hear from us. In the past, some of those things, which have since been released and so are good examples. When we first launched, we didn't have support for the Global Shipping Program. We didn't have support for charity. So those were things that if you sold a lot of your sales were in those sorts of ways, then you weren't going to be somebody that we were reaching out to say, hey, join us right now, because we knew it wouldn't be a fit for you. Things that we're still working on. We're still working on our sort of cross-border, which is if you actively list in multiple different currencies and countries. We are still working on a fuller set of all of the categories that are available today on eBay. And some of those take a little longer because they come with a little bit more risk and a little bit more responsibility. And so we're making sure that we have all of that built out before those are expanded upon. So hopefully that helps demystify a little bit of sort of how we're approaching this. And it may seem that sometimes there's not a rhyme or reason, but there is. So maybe just playing off a little bit of what Bradford shared with you on checkout. Certainly a big part of this journey has been making sure that we're giving buyers new ways to pay, the ways that they want to pay as those are continuing to evolve and change. And so just, from a buyer perspective, this is what Apple Pay looks like in checkout: super fast, super easy, super secure. What's really interesting, I think, and I'm kind of a payments geek, but what we are seeing is, of course, contactless and mobile at the point of sale. So things like Apple Pay and Google Pay. We are, of course, seeing higher rates of adoption given the current climate pandemic and folks, not wanting to actually touch a terminal. And so there's lots of speculation of how much of that shift in buyer behavior actually will persist and build muscle memory as that becomes the way that you want to pay when you're not at the point of sale, but you're still on your device. And so I haven't seen hard data on it yet, but I think highly suspect that we will see a greater increase in adoption. And so this was an example where we were able, I think, to kind of get ahead of buyer preferences and make sure that it's available, and it's available on our new platform. So we're excited about that. And then some of the things that might seem a little more mundane, which is the order confirmation and the order details. A couple things that are different here. One is we're surfacing an order number for the first time that we introduced when we sort of launched payments back in 2018. And that order number persists uniquely for that order, both for the buyer as well as for you, the seller. And so end to end, through the transaction, through reporting, if someone needs to call support, the buyer, you, what have you, it is a persistent way to recognize that, which is sort of a very subtle thing, but a really critical thing as we get into post-order management and reconciliation. I'm going to move us forward, just to give a couple examples of when we say one place to sell and get paid and why we say streamlining efficiency. A few of the things that I think bring that to life the most have been examples of places where you distinctly used to have to go to two places to do this. Even if they were sort of integrated from a screen perspective, there was really two sets of transactions happening. And so one example of that was purchasing shipping labels out of Seller Hub. You still can opt to pay for that shipping label via PayPal if that's how you want to pay. But with managed payments, we did introduce the ability for you to pay for that shipping label from your pending proceeds from the sale that you just got. So it's all tied in one place to manage everything associated to that unique order ID, right? Next, want to just kind of show you another example of actually a friction area that we heard early on in 2018. So if anybody has been with us in the journey since then, the ability to initiate refunds, seller-initiated refunds in Seller Hub, was not something that was there in the beginning. We heard loud and clear that this was a really necessary part of being able to run your business. And so we launched the ability to do seller-initiated refunds from Seller Hub, either full refunds or partial refunds. And you can see here an example of like a multiple items in an order. You can choose to refund part of an individual item associated to an order, the whole order, different permutations of that. And so again, an area where we didn't have it out of the gate, but we listened and we responded quickly. And so hopefully it's working for people. And if it's not, do let us know. Next, payout. This was kind of an interesting and one that I like to use as an example of we don't always get it right. We're really, really hyper focused on making sure that people could get their funds as fast as possible. And so when we first launched, payouts go directly to your bank, which you may know, and they go as soon as the funds are available, which is typically about 2 business days from the time a sale is received. And they tee up for deposit and they go every day automatically. And so if you have sales every day, that means every day you're getting a payout from us. And what we heard actually from a lot of you was that actually reconciling those daily deposits was something that you didn't want to do, and that you wanted us to actually wait and tee those up and send those to you less frequently. And so we built in the ability for you to schedule your payouts. Right now it's daily and weekly. We are working on other options. We have heard that you want monthly, you want bi-weekly, and we're working on it. I don't have dates for you, but just know that we've heard it, and we'll continue to look for opportunities to give you much more flexibility here in how you manage your payouts. So hopefully that is something that has been working well. I am coming up on time here, so I think I'm almost at the last one, which is just an example of how that unique order number persists all the way into the reporting. And with payments, of course, you get a new set of reports, things that you didn't have from us before that you would have gotten from PayPal or other places. And so that is both a payout report, which is a summary of all of your orders that were batched in a particular payout. So if that was weekly, it would be everything in the week. If it's daily, it would be everything in that day. And then the actual transaction details underneath every single one, inclusive of the order number and inclusive of the fees associated with that order. I did see in the chat somewhere about that, the fees being not being in a report. And so we'll have somebody get back to you on that, because that should be there. So just another example of how we're trying to make sure that we really are streamlining everything end to end, one place to sell and get paid, and leveraging the opportunity of seeing the transaction and the payment data end to end to build in efficiency. And we'll be looking to innovate much more and do much more of that, more ways for buyers to pay in combination with our teams, and then more efficiency and innovating on top of that robust end-to-end data set on the seller side. So hopefully that was a good sneak peek or demystifying a few of the things around payments if you haven't joined, and if you are already using them, just examples of where we're listening. Keep the feedback coming. We appreciate it. And with that, I will give it back to you, Marnie.
All right, thank you, Kiala. Yeah, and just sellers, so you know, Kiala is a wonderful partner of ours here at eBay. We get all of your feedback. We see the posts on the boards. I get the emails. So does Jordan, and she gets a lot of emails from me on a daily basis. And her and her team are always willing to, take the feedback and make adjustments where we can as quickly as we can. So thank you so much. Appreciate that, Kiala. Yes, we love Kiala. Teresa loves Kiala. All right. So we don't have, of course, so much great information. We have about 6 minutes left. And don't forget, we're going to put up that that poll at the end again, so don't hang up until you take our little survey. But I am going to hit on some of the questions in here. There's a lot of them. We've tried to answer as many as possible. And of course, post-event, we will be answering them via email. So I'll hit on a few. There's so many different categories in here, but one I will hit on just because I've seen a couple about the ZIF and ZIF on auctions. Will the 200 free auction listings be extended through August? So Donna asked that. So the actual permanent price change that was made was that if you don't have a store, right, we're going from 50 to 200 auction. Or a fixed price. If you have a starter store, it goes from 100 to 250 on auction or fixed price. And if you have a basic store, it goes from 250 auction. It remains at the 250 auction in auction listings in fashion and collectibles. So it's not a promo, it's a permanent price change. All the information on the insertion fee updates are on eBay.com. Go to Seller Center under the service and payments. And you'll see the insertion fee information. So those insertion fee changes are not going away. They are permanent. So let's go to another question. There's been a lot of questions around late deliveries, items not received, how we're managing through that. I thought maybe, Jordan, you could talk at a high level just on, again, what we've done with extending EDDs. Jordan's looking at me like, what? And then, kind of all the conversations we're having around the items not received and late deliveries and late scams. Maybe we can just touch on that at a high level, and I can give some more detail.
Marty, can you hear me okay? My connection broke up there for a second.
You're good.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm sorry, and I share your frustration. eBay has a long history of strong partnership with the USPS, and I would tell you the last month would probably not be a shining beacon of that, if I'm totally honest. We were caught off guard by the changes USPS made 2 weeks ago to service levels across the country. Everybody from retailers to other carriers, including USPS, have been dealing with COVID. USPS made specific operational decisions 2 weeks ago that have impacted on-time delivery rates. And so while we had almost sort of seen on-time get back up over 90%, which is how eBay has been sort of running for buyers the last several years. 2 weeks ago, things took a nosedive. And so we heard that feedback pretty clearly from all of you. Marnie worked with Stuart, who I think is on the call right now answering questions, to get as quickly as we could the announcement for the retro protections back out. I saw some questions on here around, hey, like the protections are great, but that doesn't really do anything. You guys are still having to deal with buyers who are texting you, where are the items, the disputes are getting opened, and then cases are getting closed. And in some cases, and then the item is arriving and you're out the dollars on the item. And to cover those two things, in addition to making sure you're protected on late shipments, which is kind of the minimum we have to do, Stuart's team regularly updates our shipping estimates to buyers to make sure that they actually understand. It doesn't matter that Priority Mail says it has an X to Y delivery range. We put additional buffers onto that, given where you and where the buyers are in the country, to try to actually better set those expectations. Those buffers then will actually make sure that the INR can't be opened sooner, because that is now the actual window for that item to be delivered.
See flashlights.
But we know that there are still things that are coming in later and outside of that. And on the specific scenario for item not received cases that get closed, to then have an item show up later, I don't know, Marnie, if we're ready to sort of announce that, but the short answer is, if you have an item not received case where we have closed that in favor of the buyer, and then you can show us tracking 1 to 2 weeks later that shows that it was in fact delivered, give us a call and we'll do the right thing. We're gonna look after you. Obviously, that's not a permanent solution, but things are so inconsistent right now with postal across the country. I don't want you and your customers to be stuck in the middle of that. We need to have happy buyers on eBay, and I don't want you guys to be punished by looking after the buyer and then to have the item arrive so you can't file a loss claim with USPS and end up with nothing. So it's a very evolving situation, but please keep the feedback coming. I think for some of you, I dropped into Q&A, if there's examples of things you're like, whoa, my business is seeing, it's not 10 or 15% late, it's half of my shipments are arriving late. Please send those examples. It actually helps us tune the models and work with USPS on those specific areas. And then Marnie, you're on mute, sorry.
Thank you. Happens to the best of us, I guess. So there was a question, Jordan, you showed all the great information about, Q2 and our 8 million additional buyers. There was two questions. One was, are we seeing growth of sellers as well? And I can take that one. And then how are we keeping the 8 million buyers? So on the first one, are we seeing growth of sellers? Yes. So we are, different types of sellers, right? You guys are mostly business sellers. You do this either full-time or part-time, but you are, I would say consistent, users of the platform, right? We're seeing obviously new sellers to the platform through our consumer selling. People who are in the beginning stuck at home and needing things to do and needing to make an extra dollar. We also, of course, as you know, as many of you are helping out with our Up and Running program, where we're trying to get, brick and mortar businesses to come online to help them obviously stave off, the pandemic and the lack of traffic they have in their store. So we are seeing a nice increase in new sellers. The good news is that, they're bringing different inventory, unique inventory. I mean, that is the goal, right? We don't need, I always say we don't need, a million more of the same item. We do need, we want to have the breadth of inventory that eBay is known for. And so we are seeing an increase in seller growth as well. And the good thing is these sellers are actually listing and converting, right? So we know it's healthy inventory, healthy sellers for sure. As far as how we're keeping the 8 million buyers, Bradford, Jordan, you want to chime in there as to kind of our efforts around making sure these are sticky?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take the lead there. One of the great things that has happened this year is just proving how resilient the eBay marketplace is. And a lot of the efforts that we started last year have paid off a lot, and which is some of the stuff I showed you, which was an investment in teaching people how to eBay to make them stickier customers. Because every time someone watches, saves something, makes an offer, downloads the app, we get a little bit more information from them. And then what that allows us to do is have a more personalized experience. And we're running these long-term tests right now where we're showing that customers that are exposed to personalization, so they have to give us some information first, actually end up shopping and coming back and considering us more. And that is really kind of, I think, the biggest effort. There's some things that we've done which was more about building some new coupon functionality, which I think is just opportunistic and taking advantage of the moment. But really the strategy of making eBay, cleaning up eBay, personalizing eBay, and modernizing eBay, and teaching people how to eBay has been our strategy. And luckily, we just lucked out that was the strategy before all this traffic. And we know that when a buyer sells something for the first time, they stick around longer. When a buyer buys something from a second category, they stick around longer. When a buyer saves a search because they're looking for something, they stick around longer. So the strategy is really to just get people more, not necessarily, the old eBay was buy, buy this, buy this, buy this. The new strategy is buy, but also maybe do this, which maybe isn't buy, but will lead to buying tomorrow, next week, next month, etc.
Great, thank you, Bradford. Jordan, anything to add there?
Just that, success, like eBay is a momentum business. The more growth we have, the more we can invest back in. I think some of you, depending on where you are in the country, may have seen TV commercials in the last quarter. I think I've been pretty clear that TV is generally not the highest ROI thing for eBay to do, but so many advertisers pulled out of TV when COVID was sort of at its peak chaos in the US that we get affordably buy rates. I will set your expectations. Please don't expect to see TV in Q3 as we get close to the election. We will actually see a lot of competition for TV spend, but we will keep doing more broad-based digital ad spend. And you will see us to continue to amplify the message of not just the what you can get on eBay, but the who you're buying it from. And certainly we've seen in the last 6 months, the notion of supporting small and medium-sized businesses, supporting Main Street, even if it's not your Main Street, you get that national effect of I'm supporting Bradford's Main Street, he's supporting mine. It all works out. And so, that fundamentally is at the core of who and what makes up eBay. And so you will see us continue to amplify that message through digital channels as we move into Q3.
So Jordan, you're saying there won't be an eBay ad that at the end you come on and say, I'm Jordan Sweetnam and I approve this ad. That's not going to happen. Thank you, Fiala, for laughing.
You could do one just for a Zoom sizzle reel if you want.
Exactly.
I'm not sure America needs to see my mug on TV.
Right, I know. All right.
Internal one, just because.
Yes, exactly. All right. So I know that we are time, and I think I'm going to say right here, the questions are amazing, and I would rather get through more of them in person. So maybe at our next check-in, which is on, somebody told me 8/18. I know it's on my calendar. August 18th. Maybe we do a lot less content and just question away, right? Let's just blast through them. But we'll get that feedback because I'm looking, there's still 32 questions and some of them are so great. They're all great, but a lot of them around managed payments and taxes and seller protections. And so I think it would be good to do kind of a full Q&A for the next session. So we'll look into that for sure. One more thing, I'd be remiss if I don't say it. We did have our 100th podcast this past week, 470,000 downloads, which is growing. It's like growing 30%. And so many of you, just thank you, because I know a lot of you have participated in them, we're part of eBay Radio. We evolved to the podcast. You've been great supporters. So thank you. It's super exciting that we hit the 100. So with that, we're going to pull up the poll again. So if you guys can just hang on for a few more minutes and do the poll, then you can hang up afterwards. We'll just stay live here. But thank you again for your participation. We really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.